To want is to be vulnerable. Why do we even want stuff? Like, where does want come from? The things you want reveal who you are. Sometimes even you have wants for things to just learn more about yourself. My weight is my desire. Wherever I'm carried, my desire is carrying me. It's a beautiful afternoon and welcome back to the podcast. I want to paint a picture for you. Imagine you are a young child of 10 years old or younger than that maybe. You're with your mother and you walk into a supermarket. And if I remember it correctly, when I was 10 years old, the one snack I used to always want and almost never get to have in the supermarket was a Kinder Joy. A Kinder Joy, the chocolate which had a little spoon and a little ball in the middle, which was coated with, I think, crushed nuts or something. And it always had a section of it which contains a mystery gift. And I always used to want a Kinder Joy. But because I came from a house with many siblings, we could never get Kinder Joys because if you buy one Kinder Joy, it's not enough. So you need to buy every child a Kinder Joy. And if you remember, Kinder Joys were like 110 shillings. I very clearly remember the price because I always wanted a Kinder Joy. And when you enter a supermarket with your mother, you're accompanying her by force on an errand, and maybe they're going to buy milk and bread. You get the milk, you grab the bread as well, and you are on the line to the cashier. And you know how Kenyan supermarkets are arranged. I don't know if it's every other supermarket like in other countries, but specifically in Kenya, the cashier's booth is surrounded by other small shelves which contain stuff like chocolates and chewing gum and PKs, and you have to stand next to them in the line, which is a really good marketing strategy, so that you stare at them for long enough until you're like, damn it, I'll just pick one. I'll just get one chocolate. And so you're standing there in the line, and remember, you're 10 years old, so you're kind of short, right? You're at the level where you are seeing the Kinder Joy eye to eye. And when you enter the supermarket, you never really wanted the chocolate, right? But once you see it in the line, you're tapping your mom's leg and you're like, Mom, can I get some Kinder Joy? Right then you're trying to put a really sweet face and a really sweet voice so that maybe their heart will be softened and they'll just say, whatever, just take one or something like that. And you just tap your mom's leg and you're like, Kinder Joy, can I take one? And your mom looks down at you and they know that Kinder Joy is something that you really want because maybe you always ask for it. And they can decide to get it for you or not to get it for you. And the fate of your happiness in that moment can depend on whether or not they agree to getting you the Kinder Joy. Let me paint a scenario for you. If they decide not to get you the Kinder Joy, here's 2 things you can do. You can decide to overreact or simply be quiet. If you choose to be quiet, you can decide to accept it and just say, it's okay, I don't really need the Kinder Joy as much, it's fine. Or you can decide to build resentment over the fact that you didn't get the Kinder Joy and just let it boil within you. And when you get home, you'll probably not talk to your parents, your mom. You'll go to your room and just sit there in silence and feel sad about it. Or you can decide to overreact. Especially if you're one of these kids who feel entitled to stuff, you can decide to overreact, which was never the case for me. But you can choose to overreact and throw a tantrum. And even if you throw a tantrum, it's not a must that they'll get it for you. If your parents are really tough, they can just pinch you. And then you end up not getting it and you just made a fool of yourself. Or if they are different, they're not as strict, they can decide to get it for you, but they'll be mad that you threw a tantrum in the supermarket and you caught everyone's attention, right? But I don't even know why I went into so much detail about that story, because the only thing that I really wanted to say is to want is to be vulnerable. To want is to be vulnerable. Before you entered the supermarket, you were happy, life was okay. But once you saw the chocolate, once you saw the Kinder Joy, and you realized that there's a chance you can get it or not get it, you're vulnerable. Even in life, to want anything is to be vulnerable, because when you want something, you're literally just handing the universe a card that says, you can disappoint me. You are capable of disappointing me. I want success, so the universe can disappoint you by giving you failure. I want love. The universe can disappoint you by giving you heartbreak. I want a good friendship. The universe can disappoint you by giving you friendship heartbreak. I don't know if there's something like that, but such things, whenever you desire something, there is also the flip side. Everything in the universe comes in a balance, yin and yang, black and white in equal measure, day and night. Everything comes with its equal evil opposite or negative opposite. So even wanting something comes with the fear of being disappointed or not getting it. And when I was thinking about this, the first thing I asked myself is, why do we even want stuff? Like, where does want come from? And turns out we go back to the evolutionary instincts once again. Basically, when we were primal, when we were primates, we needed to have want, because want is what would drive us towards looking for food and looking for mates. And as I've said before on this podcast, evolution only prioritizes reproduction and survival. So you need to survive. What do you need? You need food. You need safety. So your brain and evolution will lead you to prioritize getting food and safety. And also for you to reproduce, what do you need? Your evolutionary instincts will take you to places where you can be able to reproduce. You can be able to bring forth more and more of your kind, because that is the whole aim of evolution. So even in terms of wanting, how it's tied back to our evolutionary instinct, it's the same way. Wanting is what kept our ancestors alive. Like, they had to seek food and mates, so they had to have an instinct within them to want those things. They had to have an instinct to want food and an instinct to want mates, so that they can seek them out and eventually survive. So that's where want comes from, if we look at it in an evolutionary way. But now, what is want itself? When you look at something and you want it, or you think about something and you want it, for example, you think, I want money, I want money. It's a kind of hope, I want peace, I want freedom, I want a family, I want this, I want that, I want a job, I want a degree. It's a hope that you can have that. It's like almost you foreseeing the future, or looking and seeing a future where you have that thing which you want, and coming back to the present and being like, I have seen a future where I have that, so I want that, because if I get it, I will have that future. I want to be in that future. It's believing that the future could be different from the present that you're experiencing. And want is such a core part of us. Like, you can't suppress your wants, okay? You can't make yourself someone who doesn't want things and someone whose need for stuff is suppressed. But being numb in that way means you're not really living life. I was thinking also about why want is necessary. There was this Substack that I read recently concerning how you don't see things as they are, you see things as you are, which is a very interesting topic, like absolutely interesting topic, which we might delve in someday. But I was thinking about a story that was detailed in the Substack. A story was told about two people on a walk. When two people go on a walk, each of them will notice different things on the walk. Someone will notice the clouds and the weird shapes in the clouds. Someone else will notice how the grass is being carried in the wind, how it's leaning against one side because of the wind. Someone will notice how the dust is rising and settling and rising and settling as they're walking on the road. And basically, everyone will notice different things. And the things that you notice are a compass. The things that you notice reflect who you are. The things that you notice tie back to who you are. When you look at the world, you don't see the world as it really is. You see who you are. You see yourself in the world, right? You see through your mind, as I've explained in the previous episode. Just in case you did not watch it or listen to it, go and listen to it. Anyways, you don't see things as they are. You see things as you are, right? So I was thinking about that concept of a road and two people walking and them seeing different things as life and wants. The road itself is life. The two people are two people, and them noticing things is them wanting things. So as you're walking in life and you're looking around at life, you're experiencing life, the things you notice, the things you want in this case, reveal who you are. Okay? The things you want reveal who you are, because they reflect something that is true about you. Even if you don't yet know it, even if you don't know this version of you that they reflect back to you, they reflect something that is true about you. And it's not just for any want, okay? It's not just for any want, such that you're like, I want a book. I want a water bottle. I want, it's not just for such kinds of wants. We have different kinds of wants, but real deep wants, or wants that are true and rooted in yourself, like something that no one told you about, or something that no one incited you to want, not the internet, not anyone else, something that you just feel a need for within you. Okay, it can be something specific that no one else really wants, or it can be something that many other people want and you too want. But anyways, the bottom line is that your true wants reveal something about yourself. To have desires is to have an urge or a drive to know yourself in the world, to figure yourself out, and to pick up the pieces of yourself in the world. I don't know if that made any sense. Like, you should probably rewind and listen to it and ponder on it, because I feel like that's a really heavy line that I did not even expect myself to say. And the thing is, whenever we want stuff, we are vulnerable, as we have said. When you want stuff, most times, if you want something, you have to make steps to get it. And okay, that is for some things. For other things, you don't really have to make steps to get it, but most times you have to put in effort to get it. So one, for example, you want an opportunity, right? You want an opportunity to, let's say, work with a specific company, and it's a really big want because it's so out of your comfort zone and it's such a big desire. For you to get there, you'll have to work on several things. You'll have to work on your resume, on your CV. You'll have to work on your work experience and be able to, bring yourself out as a candidate who they would want in their company, right? So as you are working towards that, you are literally investing in the want. I recently watched a video actually by Nicholas Bernard, I think. He's a YouTuber, a 19-year-old YouTuber who made a video about him trying to get accepted into Harvard. And when I watched that video, I was so emotional. I became so emotional because it's such a well done film. You should go and watch it if you haven't. And in that video, he was really showing how much work he put into his wants, right? His dream school is Stanford University. And when he began filming the video, he was nowhere near Stanford level. So he had to do a couple of stuff to get him to that level. He had to take SATs. And firstly, even before taking the SATs, he had to read for 6 months to be able to take the SAT and be confident in himself as he took the SATs. He also needed to write a lot of personal essays. He needed to do a lot, basically, to put in a lot of work to get to a standard where he can feel confident enough to go for his want to apply to Stanford. The thing is, as you want something, you are investing so much of yourself to work towards getting it. And maybe that's the part which hurts us. You are investing time, you're investing probably money, you're investing effort, you're investing a lot of yourself to get the want. And while you are investing, you are not sure you're gonna get it. If you're someone who has dabbled in trying to start your own business and such, you know this. You'll invest a lot of money, a lot of belief, but you are unsure of whether your want will come to pass. It's not definite. You've not been told if you invest this amount of effort, if you do this, that, and the other, you will get it for sure. It's never a given, right? It's not a given that you're gonna get what you want just because you worked for it. So that's where it gets a little bit vulnerable, because you're telling me I can work hard, I can put in all this effort, but it doesn't mean I will get what I want. Yeah. That's what I'm telling you. So back to the YouTube video. He documented his whole journey, reading, staying up late at night to read for his SATs, eventually taking his SATs, getting his results, and realizing, oh my God, I did not get the score I wanted. He wanted, I think, a 1540, and he got a 1400. So already he's starting to face the repercussions of wanting, right? He's starting to face the kickback of pushing. When he's pushing for his goal, he's getting disappointment handed to him. But he keeps on wanting, right? He takes that score and moves forward with it to apply. Puts in a lot of time, he puts in a lot of effort, he applies. He waits for his results. He gets waitlisted, okay? And all the other universities which he applied to, all the other Ivy Leagues, he got rejected. And then he comes back to view his waitlist decision. After being waitlisted for some time, they give you a final decision. And at that point, you could very well see it. He was exhausted. He was really exhausted. He felt like a fool. He felt like he'd made a fool of himself, calling all his friends to watch his decisions, like to watch him opening his decisions where he was rejected to all of them. And he's just like, okay, so let's open this final waitlist decision and see whether they have decided to accept me or to reject me. And remember, Stanford was his dream university. All these others which he got rejected to were not his dream universities. They were just good universities. But Stanford, the one he had invested so much energy and time and want into, was his dream university. He opens the admission letter. He gets admitted. I don't know why I have invested so much to try and put some suspense, because I know he got in, because why would I be telling you this whole story? Anyways, he got in finally, and it's like after really investing so much and losing so much in pursuit of his want, he finally gets his want. What does that say? When you want something, you're going to have to be ready to fail. And I feel like that's the hardest bit to accept. It's that it's not just possible for you to fail, you are likely gonna fail. You're likely gonna fail as you pursue things that you want. But the thing is, for your true wants that are rooted in yourself, wants that you cannot really explain to someone why you want it, you just know you want it and you want it so strongly, for such wants, the failure is part of the success. Okay. And I know you know that because you're always told failure is a part of success. And it's true. Failure is a part of success in these wants which are really consuming. I don't know if you get me when I say true wants, because there's general wants like I want a new pair of shoes. I always need a new pair of shoes. I don't know what's up. I want a new pair of shoes, for example, or I want a new phone. Yeah, I actually do want a new phone. Or I want a microphone. Now I'm just stating my wants. I want a microphone. There's those general wants, like simple material, mostly really material things, like things you can actually hold and use. But there's also the wants that are kind of deeper than that. Something like an opportunity, something that actually changes your life in a really major way, because a microphone doesn't really change my life much. It just makes my audio quality better, but it doesn't really affect my life in a really big way. So do you get it? True wants are those which actually transform your life in a way, and true wants are the ones which are scary to even think of wanting. So these are the desires which when you want, you even feel like, oh my God, it's heavy. It's heavy on you. And it reminds me of a quote by St. Augustine. St. Augustine is someone who lived like 1600 years ago or something. And he said this: my weight is my love. Wherever I am carried, my love is carrying me. My weight is my love. So for him, his desire was love, right? And this desire was a weight on him. And it really describes how whenever you truly want something, it feels like something that's on your back. It's a weight on you. It's gravity. It's pulling you down. It's telling you, you want me, work for me. You want me, reach out for me. You're gonna fail in my pursuit, but still pursue me. And want is crazy in that way, because it's like, I know, you want me, and I'm gonna weigh on you until you get to me. You're gonna have to work and seek me. That's your desire. That's your want. That's what it's telling you. Your desire is like a weight that you carry with you. And it's dangerous for you to not pursue your desires. Because one, you don't get to discover the side of yourself that's hidden in these desires. Just like we've said, you don't see the world as it is. You see it as you are. So every desire that you find yourself, grabbing onto, or you find yourself wanting, anything that you find yourself attracted to, you feel like this is the kind of life I would want, You see something somewhere and you're like, I feel like I want that. In a way, I feel like that's what I want for myself. Anything that you feel is a true desire within you is always gonna be like a weight. You're gonna feel it heavily. And it weighs heavy. It weighs so heavy. I have really experienced this a lot. Sometimes I'm just like, oh my God, can I just live a life without wanting things? Because this want is so heavy on me. I'm tired of bearing the burden of want, I just want to live a life where I don't want things. Which reminds me of another YouTube video that I watched, Progetto Happiness, a YouTube channel where an Italian guy takes you around the world to communities trying to figure out what is the definition of happiness for each and every different person, different communities, and different sides of the world. Now, the specific episode that I watched was about monks. And It was about their life, how they lived their life. And at the end of the video, the monk who was being interviewed said, for us monks, to be happy is to let go of all want. And when I heard that, at first I was like, okay, I have found the secret. I must let go of all want. I don't want anything. But to me, life feels empty without want. Want is what enriches my life because want makes me hope. Want makes me see a future for myself. Want makes me build castles in the air, in the clouds, makes me daydream about a future that I actually want. And when I thought about their response, I came to realize that it's not saying you don't want anything. Monks don't feel happier by not wanting anything. They feel happy because they detach from the outcome of wanting something. Get cozy. I forgot to introduce you to our drink for the day. It's plain water. Yeah, I actually forgot to make a drink. I don't know, why did I make this a signature of the podcast if I cannot keep up with it? I literally forgot to make. Should I go make a coffee and then come back? No, because I'll come back and I will just stare at you and I won't have anything to say to you. You have to talk when you feel the words are bubbling inside you. So we're going to have to deal with the water situation for today. I feel like even the last time I just had water. So shall we change this to drowning in my water cup? And then when I change the name, I will suddenly have coffee every time instead of water. I'm weird like that. It's fine. Anyways, what was I talking about? I came to realize that it's not really about not wanting stuff. It's about detaching from the outcome. It's about not clinging to the stuff. You can have someone, for example, let's go back to the example of the kid. One child can decide to cling onto that and be like, if I don't get this chocolate, I will cry, I will be mad, I will throw a tantrum, I will be sad about it when you go home, I'll lock myself in my room, I will not eat until you get me this chocolate. There's that kind of kid, which, brat. There's this other kind of kid who will be like, I want this chocolate, but if I don't get it, it's okay. It's fine. My life is still okay. I am enough without the chocolate. I am enough without it. Without the Kinder Joy, without even the present inside, and the little nut in the middle. I am enough. I am enough. Yeah, you can tell that was me. That was me when I was young. I learned to be enough without Kinder Joy, guys. You can do it. Anyways, does Kinder Joy even exist these days? I should buy myself one now that I can. I don't even think I have the desire for a Kinder Joy anymore, but I mean, to satisfy that little kid inside me, maybe I will buy a Kinder Joy. Back to our analogy. So we have those two different types of kids, right? One who is attached to the outcome of getting the Kinder Joy, and the other who is detached from the outcome but still has a want. Most times it feels like when you want something, you have to also want to have it. It's easy for you to feel like if you want something, you also have to have it. If I want this, I have to get it. And based on how you've been raised, you can have this belief or not. For me, I don't have it, I've learned that I can want stuff, but I don't always have to get it, and that's okay. And if you've been raised differently, you might be like, I've always been raised to know that whenever I want something, I will get it. And so I must get it. And I get that sometimes this can feel like confidence. It can feel like believing in yourself. But it's easy for the line between believing in yourself and being outrightly attached and clingy to the outcome. It's easy for that line to be blurry, to be blurred. You need to draw a fine line and be able to distinguish between believing in yourself and attaching to the outcome. Because whenever you want something, you should never tie a part of yourself to that thing. You should never tie a part of yourself to that thing. Such that if you don't get the thing, it's not just not getting the thing. It's more like you are losing a part of yourself. It's more like your self-love or your self-worth and your ego is also being lost by the fact that you're not getting that thing. That is where the difference comes in. When you want in a healthy way, you are not attaching any part of yourself to that thing. You're like, I want success. Okay, what kind of success? I want success in terms of $100,000 in my bank account every 2 weeks. Okay, that's very oddly specific. Let me choose a different example that kind of makes sense. I want success. What kind of success do you want? I want to get this specific grade in my examination. Do you tie a part of yourself to that grade? If you don't get that grade, are you just not getting that grade, or are you also losing a part of yourself? You should never tie a part of yourself to your wants. Your wants are separate from who you are, but they're also kind of tied to who you are. Your wants show you who you are. Sometimes even you have wants for things to just learn more about yourself, to learn more about how much you can do. For example, you might want a specific opportunity, and it might be that that opportunity is actually not for you to get, but that want that you have for the opportunity is meant to teach you that you're perseverant, to teach you that you can work hard, to teach you that you can go the extra mile for things that you want. So really, you having that want was not about you getting it. It was about who you became in the pursuit of the want. It was about learning that you are resilient, learning that you can strive for things. It's about learning that you are more than you thought you were. It's about revealing the part of yourself that you did not know existed to you. And sometimes, if you attach to the outcome and you only fixate on the outcome, you miss seeing what you have gained, which is ultimately the actual goal. I'll sip on that. Your true wants are how you recognize yourself in the world. Your true wants are how you spot yourself in the world. Because, as we've said, in the pursuit of a want, you can fail. In the pursuit of a want, you can succeed. But it's not much about the end goal, it's not much about that kinder joy. It's more about the journey from where you are to where you will be when you have it. That journey is the part of yourself that needed to be revealed to you. It's about gaining that part of yourself. It's almost as if when you're walking through life, you are constantly gaining parts of yourself, new parts to you, and losing parts that no longer serve you. You're constantly shedding as you add. You add and shed, Your desires are never random. They are actually your nervous system pointing at what feels meaningful towards you. Wants are not even about what is good and what is not. You can have two equally good things in front of you, but you want one and you don't want the other because it's an internal compass. And I think when you realize that your wants are more about pointing you back to yourself, that's when you're able to really find a lot of fulfillment in having wants. And you're able to accept that you're just a human being who wants, and it's human to want. It's easy to suppress your wants, and you might ask me, how do you do this? How do you suppress your wants? I'm not trying to give you a manual for how to suppress your wants. I'm just trying to warn you. So please don't follow this manual. You suppress your wants by shaming the part of you that has those wants. Let that sink in. You suppress your wants by shaming the part of you that has those wants. If there's a part of you that, for example, desires to have a really tight circle of friends, whenever you feel that want coming up, or whenever you feel yourself desiring such things, you shame yourself. How do you shame yourself? One, you might not allow yourself to express that desire. You don't express the desire to others. You don't show your friends that you care about them. You don't even try to build those kinds of connections, even though you want them, because you don't want to show that you want them. Because by showing that you want them, you let that part of yourself that wants them live. And when they live, you're vulnerable. There's a possibility of you getting heartbroken and you not getting the friendships that you want by showing that you want them. So that is how you numb yourself from wanting. By shaming. Shaming, it's such a serious word. It's such a heavy word. Shaming the parts of yourself that want. Have you ever watched a movie? Of course you've watched a movie, but have you watched... I'm sure you have watched a movie where there's a bully and there's the victim, and the bully is the victim. Of course, that's why they call the bully. They bully the victim and they shame them. For example, maybe they shame how they're dressed, or they shame how they look, or they shame some aspect of them. And you always feel like punching the bully across the screen, just reaching out and giving them a good smack across the face, and then, pulling your hand back out and being like, oops, who did that? And you watching someone shaming someone else makes you feel so mad. But now, how much more mad should you be to watch yourself shame yourself? Like, watch a part of you shame a part of you. Watch yourself shaming the part of you that wants good friends, the part of you that wants love, the part of you that wants success, the part of you that wants more than you have at the moment. How mad should you be to see that? But it's no use being mad at yourself, because now you're shaming yourself, you're mad at yourself. Oh my God, there's so much going on. You don't need to be mad at yourself. You need to instead be kind. Be kinder to yourself. Allow yourself to want things, okay? Wanting is what makes us alive. It's what gives us something worth waking up every day for. If I didn't have a desire to have a podcast, if I didn't have a desire to make content, if I didn't have a desire to, do the many other things that I have desires for, why would I need to wake up every morning? Like, what would be the meaning of my life if I didn't have wants and desires? If I didn't want to make art, if I didn't want to make my favorite breakfasts, if I didn't want things, then my life would just feel grey and empty and dull. My life wouldn't feel worth living if I didn't have desires. And even if these desires are like gravity, they're like a weight that's pulling me down, that I always feel heavy within myself, I need to make space for my desires. And not just to make space to have the desires, to make space to be compassionate to myself when I have these desires, to be kind to myself, to sit with my desires and listen to them and ask myself, what does this show me about myself? Why do I even want these desires? Do I know the answer to it? Maybe I do, maybe I don't. If I don't, it's okay, because I will know. To make space for yourself to sit with yourself and sit with the parts of you that desire certain things and listen to them. Listen to yourself. Listen to yourself. You know, you're always saying something to yourself, but you're never listening most of the times. Your actions, the things you think, the thoughts you think, and all that, it's always telling yourself something, but most times we just choose not to listen. Now sit with yourself and listen to your desires. And the thing is, when you open your eyes or your heart or your ears to listen to your true desires, it feels heavy, because some part of you is like, who do you think you are to desire all those things? Like, how do you even think you're going to get those desires? Why would you decide to dream so big? Why would you decide to desire such a detailed kind of want? Or why would you decide to desire things that you cannot get? You know, there's one part of you that will be surprised at your desires, because they will only see disappointment. They will only see the fact that you're not going to get your desires. And I think that part is the one that makes us choose to not let our desires live. Your desires are always within you, you know what you want. But sometimes you have to clear up a lot of things which cover up your desires, like other people's opinions, other people's judgments, other people's say in your desires. Many people won't have the same desires as you do. You might have the same desires as many people, and you might also not have the same desires as other people. And that's okay, because they don't get to have a say in your desires, because they're yours. And so you might have to clear the rubble. Maybe you've been on social media for way too long that you think your desire is to drink matcha, or you think, okay, I'm just using that as an example to show, the things which are popularized on the internet. It's not like drinking matcha is a bad desire. I honestly want to drink matcha if I think about it. But I'm just using that as an example, such that the things which have been made common online are the things which you feel like you also want. So your desires, your true desires, the ones which are rooted in yourself, the ones which come from you and come from versions of you that you're yet to explore, are hidden to yourself. So start to clear out that rubble. Start to clear out the rubble and listen to yourself more. You can do this by writing, journaling, speaking to yourself, sitting in silence and just listening to your thoughts. Because the more you discover your desires, the more you can be able to move in alignment with your desires, to live your life in a way that makes you more aligned with who you are, with what you want, to seek your desires. And in the seeking of your desires, find parts of yourself you never even knew existed. And the thing is, when you realize that you have desires and you've made space for them, don't be attached to them. It goes hand in hand. You need to build self-love. You need to build a sense of self-worth that is separate from your wants and from your desires, so that when you have wants and desires, you don't attach your self-worth to them. There's so many ways that you can do this, but it all goes down to, self-reflection, working on yourself internally, and going into the deep of knowing who you are. You also need to realize that most things that you want will not come to you in the ways that you think they will. I'm sure you have experienced this. You have experienced this for sure. You have wanted something and you thought it would come to you in one way, but it never did. It actually never did. And you're like, okay, I guess that was not meant for me, though I really, really wanted it. And I feel so sad that I didn't get it, but I guess it wasn't meant for me. And then a while later, it comes back to you in a different format. And you're like, damn, my desire was actually meant to come to me, but not in the way that I thought it would. So when it comes to your desires, even if you don't get them the first time, just chill. If the desire is still within you, let it live, okay? Let it live and let it guide you to seek it out at the right time. Because most times the things you want will not come through the ways you think they will. You think you want a certain kind of success. You think this is how it will come to you. Maybe, for example, you think your success will come through this route of the degree that you're doing. I'm not saying you should stop doing the degree that you're doing, but let's say you think that you will be successful in life based off of your career, and you'll be a career girl or a career guy, and you're going to do your career, and that's what is going to make you successful. It's going to afford you the luxury trips that you desire. And then you get your degree, but you end up never even working in that field. You work in a completely different field that you'd never have expected, and you end up still affording the luxurious life. So your want was the luxurious life, and you thought that you would get it through this one path of your desire, but you actually ended up getting it through a whole different field. So what can you do in this case? You're at the beginning. You don't know which way you're going to get your desire through. Just hold on to your desire. That's all you can do. Like, honestly, you don't even know how you're going to get there. Just hold on to the desire and let the desire guide you. If it guides you to do your degree. And then you end up not getting a job in that degree, it's fine. Explore other career fields that you can be able to step into. Step into them and wait. Oh my God, you got to your desire. You have to be patient. You really have to be patient, I feel. I feel. I don't know which of the two it is, but you really have to be patient in the pursuit of your desires, because they don't come on a normal timeline. Like, you cannot never know. You don't know the timeline. It can be 1 year, 2 years, 6 months, 21 years. And I think the timeline from when you want something to when you get that desire is determined by how much growth and how much of yourself you need to realize within that for you to get to the desire. What am I saying? I'm saying that, for example, you have two people with wants. They all want to, for example, fall in love and get married. These two people don't know it, but one of them, person A, is going to get married within 2 years. Person B is going to get married within 10 years. But the bottom line is they're both going to get their wants fulfilled. Now, for person A, the reason why they're going to get married in 2 years is because within that span of time, they will have grown to be emotionally mature. They will have learned how to be able to cope in relationships. They will have met the person that they're supposed to get married to, and they will have become the person they need to become in order to be able to handle the moment they get their desire, to be able to handle a married life, right? But this other person has a lot of growing to do. So that's why they have 10 years. Because one, they need to maybe get to a level of financial stability. They need to also get to have financial wisdom, like to know how to save money. Maybe they also need emotional intelligence. Maybe they also need to help another person somewhere. They need to travel somewhere and do some exploits. They need to gain experience in this and that. They need to learn patience with themselves. They need to work with kids in an organization so that they can be able to even handle kids in their marriage. They have a lot to learn. They have a lot to, not just to learn, but it's now striking me that they also might have a lot to put out into the world. Maybe someone in another part of the world will need them for like 2 months or something. And so we have to delay their wedding so that they can go and help that person. And in turn, that person will help another person. And it's a whole chain reaction that comes to tie itself back meaningfully. And so you find that this one will take 10 years to get to their desire. Maybe they were both starting at the same line and they were both like, damn, I want to get married. Me too, I want to get married. And then after 2 years, bro number one is already getting married and bro number two is like, oh my gosh, why not me? We both wanted to get married, but okay, maybe I'll get married next year and it doesn't happen. Maybe next year it doesn't happen. And next year it doesn't happen. And the other year it doesn't happen. And if he gives up on wanting it, he might not end up getting it even in 10 years. He might end up delaying it. But as long as he keeps the want in his head and he keeps it alive, even if he's not getting it at that moment, he's just keeping the want alive, allowing that part of him or her to keep wanting whatever it is they wanted, then they're gonna get it. And so he's going to travel, she's going to do a lot of stuff, she's going to gain so many different parts of themselves that were needed in order to sustain the want that they wanted. So I guess all that here was to say that the duration between when you want something and when you get it is determined by how much growth you need to gain, and also how much you need to put out into the world, how many people outside there in the world need versions of you that you are before you get the want. How many people needed the you that was learning so that they could maybe learn together with you, maybe they could learn from your mistakes. How many people need the version of you that doesn't yet have your desires? I feel like we can turn that into a mathematical equation for all my nerds. We can turn that into a mathematical equation this is, try and summarize this into an equation. I don't know if it'll work, but humor me. Let's have some fun. The time it takes, so time t, the time t it takes for you to move from where you are just wanting something to point B where you actually have something is determined by the factors which I've already stated. Try and put that into an equation just for fun. I don't know if anyone will actually do that, but if you do it, please send it to me because I want to see it. And so I guess this whole video is to tell you, go out there and have wants, okay? The bird is echoing me. They're like, listen to what that girl seated in her room is saying. If you're supposed to pick anything from this episode, pick the following things. Number one, to want anything is to be vulnerable. So be ready to be vulnerable, okay? Be ready to be vulnerable. When you get to a point where, oh my God, I'm vulnerable, remember, Lily told me I'd be vulnerable, so like, I'm okay. Number two, the duration it takes you from where you have a want to actually having the want actualized is determined by so many things, and those things help you find yourself. In the journey of life, your wants are your compass to yourself. Your wants show you more of who you are. Pay attention to what you want, pay attention to what you desire, and honor your wants. Don't be emotionally numb. Don't numb yourself. Don't shame those parts of yourself which desire things, which desire a certain life, which desire a certain success. Don't shame them. Even if the weight of it is like a gravity, like it's pulling you down, even if your weight is your desire. Remember the quote by St. Augustine? My weight is my love. Wherever I am carried, my love is carrying me. So in this case, the love is his desire. It's his want. So if we remove love, we replace love with want. It's like saying my weight is my want, or my weight is my desire. Wherever I'm carried, my desire is carrying me. So it's like saying that, yes, the wants and desires are a weight on our backs, but they're also the things which carry us through life. Yes, that makes absolute sense, because I was just saying how the reason you wake up every day is because you have wants and desires that you're excited to wake up and work towards. That's why you wake up every day. If you have a job, you wake up every day because you desire a financially free life. You desire a life where you can afford things easily. That's why you wake up. So your desires are what carry you through life. And it's a paradox because they're both your weight and your lightness. Your weight is your desire, but also it's what carries you through life. So is it carrying you, or are you carrying it, or what's going on here? So I hope this episode was really insightful for you. I hope it feels like a breath of fresh air, or at the very least, a sip of water. But I hope that you really got something that resonates with you at a point in which you are in life. When I started filming this episode, I was kind of like, my headspace was weird because I didn't really know how to begin it. So I was like, okay, I'll just begin at the supermarket and, replay my childhood moment of wanting Kinder Joy. I didn't really know exactly how it will lead. I had some pointers, of course, but I didn't know how to tie it all together. And that's why I like talking to myself like this. And now that it's a podcast, I like that I'm talking to someone, I'm not just talking to myself, I'm talking to someone, because it inspires a lot of ways of seeing things differently. It inspires me to also understand more about myself. I'm not just talking to you. I'm also learning stuff about myself. I'm learning stuff about the world. I'm learning to see things from so many different perspectives. And that's why I want this to be like a conversational podcast where we talk. I talk, you guys listen, but you also talk back, and you don't have to talk back to me. Like, you can talk back to yourself by writing stuff down, by thinking about what you've heard on the podcast on your free time. Just muse on it a little, because I feel like thoughts are just important things. I feel like I said that in another episode. I keep on reiterating what I say, but that's fun. So yeah, that's the end of the podcast. I will have a hell of a time editing this podcast because I just seem to want to keep on talking. So I'm going to stop right there. Remember to keep wanting and to drink your water. Anyways, I'll see you guys in the very next episode. This was me. Of course, this was me. From me to you, have a really lovely day. It is currently 1:59 p.m. on the 11th of January 2026. So yeah. Ciao.